Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Shanna Handy. Here at CBS 8, we're working for you, getting to the bottom of problems you've asked about, and we're looking for solutions. We begin with a gift card scam that reared its head again in the North County. This time, it involves Lowe's gift cards. CBS 8 is working for you to expose these scammers who are targeting the elderly. This time, a 70-year-old woman lost $24,000. CBS 8's David Goffredson talked to the woman who has a warning for others.
Oh yeah, I have a whole collection. Collections and collections of cards. Here you go, gift cards.
Vista resident Jan Hoops fell for a gift card scam last week that began with a pop-up on her computer telling her to call a fake number for Microsoft.
He explained it that my account, they had hacked into my banking account and my CD account, and they had stolen the money.
The con man on the phone convinced her to withdraw thousands of dollars from her bank account.
I withdrew money from 3 different Mission Federals, and then after each Mission Federal, he had me immediately go to a Lowe's and buy gift cards to the tune of $1,000 on each gift card.
The scammer then convinced Jan to read him the numbers off the back of the gift cards.
The total damage is right around $24,000.
I reached out to Mission Federal. They emailed me a statement saying Mission Fed will never ask customers to withdraw money from their accounts. And quote, Mission Fed employees are highly trained to recognize fraudulent activity, and we have procedures in place to inquire about the nature of any transaction with the safety of our members in mind. In fact, Jan says employees at both Mission Fed and Lowe's asked her about the large sums of money she was handling.
They said, well, you know, this is a scam that's been going around. We've been seeing this lately. We just want to make sure you're not under any duress or being coerced into this.
But the con man who was still on the cell phone with her had an answer for everything.
I just am doing this because I want people to realize that this is what's happening. And it's out there and it's real, and I never thought I was gullible. Never.
The best advice is if you're on the phone with somebody and they're telling you your bank account has been hacked, hang up, do not listen to them, call the verified number for your bank and see if there's been any fraudulent activity on your account. In Vista, David Goffredson, CBS 8.
CBS 8 reached out to Lowe's, but so far no response. Jan has reported the fraud to law enforcement. If she gets any resolution, we'll let you know. After watching our coverage of the work being done to clear San Diego stormwater channels, a viewer from Encanto reached out to us about ongoing work on the storm channel in her neighborhood. CBS 8's Brian White is working for you in Encanto to find out what all the construction is for and when it will be completed.
A CBS 8 viewer reached out to us wanting to know about all the construction along Aikens Avenue, spanning for several blocks near 69th Street. Now, it involves several different projects in multiple agencies, and I've been working on getting those answers.
And they have the orange stretching material across sections, so the fencing has not been replaced in several sections up and down on Imperial.
Rolanda Bradley lives in the area. She's also a teacher. She saw work being done along the stormwater channel here, but she says it's been a while. She's wondering what's going on.
I drive, past this every day, and so I'm just noticing, I'm like, okay, I haven't seen him in a while, but nothing has changed. The fence has not been fixed.
She brought up several issues involving different agencies. The first is this temporary mesh fencing running along the storm channel here along Aikens. I reached out to San Diego's stormwater department. They told me chain link fencing is going to be reinstalled here. The time frame for that, October and November. She was also wondering about this.
It looks like a piece of concrete there they're pulling up on the side, I guess, so the water can flow down a little bit more easily, but they didn't come all the way down.
Now, the concrete channel looks pretty good and clear for several blocks here, but she's talking about this section that needs more work. I asked the city and they said yes, they have to reinstall the concrete bank here, but the work would encroach on the trolley line. So at this point, they have no timeline for it and say it depends on discussions with MTS. She also brought up the fact that this pedestrian crossing at 69th and Imperial has been blocked off for quite some time. I reached out to MTS. They said the trolley tracks here have been sinking, so they're working to keep it on level grade and expect to be done this winter. I asked when the crossing would reopen and did not get a firm answer. She also mentioned potholes along the stretch of Aikens Avenue. I took some pictures and filed a couple get it done reports, but as far as a full resurfacing, San Diego's Transportation Department tells me it will get an asphalt overlay once all the other projects nearby are finished, which could be by the end of next year.
I would just like for them to follow through and to be consistent in following through in all of the neighborhoods. So if you're going to do it completely, come all the way through, and so that we can just continue using our street like we should be able to.
In Encanto, working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
Now to a story that we've been following closely. School districts across California must come up with a plan to limit or ban cell phone usage in schools by July 2026. This after the governor signed the Phone-Free School Act this week. This new law does allow students to have access to their phones during emergencies, but district and charter schools will decide how to shape the rest of the policy. The goal of the new policy is to support mental health, social well-being, and academic success of students. Meantime, we spoke with some parents who say they want their kid to always have access to their phone in school.
I think that kids should have their phones at school because as a parent, I believe that having a phone with my son, I feel a little safer if something happens, especially with all the shootings going on in USA.
Other parents told us they like the new law and think teachers should focus on teaching students rather than taking away their phones. You can read more about the law at CBS8.com. California is home to the highest number of cosmetology schools in the country, and now schools here are set to become more inclusive. The governor signed a bill into law that requires beauty schools to teach how to care for textured hair. CBS 8's Abby Black is working for you and shares the impact this is having on the Black community.
This landmark bill ensures that students in cosmetology school learn on textured hair, giving many people access. But Q the Barber says what's important is that the schools do the outreach and there's continuing education.
I'm a barber.
Ruthie Kwiach, better known as Q the Barber, says owning the Clipper Game Barbershop in Webster is more than just about fades and facial trims.
I love the community aspect of being a barber.
She's built a community of barbers and clients, many who have textured hair.
There isn't any program at the schools that say we're going to specifically focus on textured hair. They're not getting the experience, and it's hurting them in their shops.
But Q says that she had to teach herself how to cut textured hair.
That what it really comes down to is the community outreach for people with textured hair.
That outreach is getting the governor's support. He just signed Assemblywoman Dr. Akilah Weber's textured hair education bill. It requires licensed barbering and cosmetology schools to educate students on wavy, curly, or coiled hair.
There's not one standard of beauty. There's not one standard of the importance of who should be trained. We all are beautiful regardless of how our hair texture is.
This bill was born out of the 2019 Crown Act, which prohibits discrimination based on one's hairstyle. The La Mesa District legislator says that 65% of Americans have textured hair, and this law will expand access and give stylists confidence.
And it also prevents those stylists from having to go and pay extra money to learn how to do textured hair.
Q the Barber says that she's had her eye on the need for textured hair education.
I walked into a barbershop the other day and there was a gentleman in there. He actually said to me, I've been cutting since 1955. And he asked me, he said, can you teach me how to cut textured hair? And I said, I can absolutely teach you how to cut textured hair.
Q says by sharpening one's skill, it builds inclusion and empowers a network of strength.
Being a barber is not just about cutting hair. I can make you look great, but it's also about community.
In Webster, Abby Black, CBS 8.
Still ahead, thousands of water-damaged vehicles in the marketplace, how scammers are getting around safeguards, and how to protect yourself if you're looking to buy a car. Plus, are kids on e-bikes becoming a problem in your neighborhood? We're looking at the rules and when police can get involved. And don't forget, we want to look into issues affecting you and your community. Email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. We'll be right back. It's been 8 months since heavy rain flooded parts of San Diego County, destroying and damaging hundreds of vehicles. Flooded cars are often resold by scammers. CBS 8's David Goverson is working for you and learn California is near the top of the list for states with large numbers of water-damaged vehicles.
The rains that flooded San Diego neighborhoods in January have left a large number of water-damaged cars in the marketplace.
California ranks 5th in the nation with about 20,000 flooded vehicles in it.
Patrick Olson is the editor-in-chief with Carfax. He says water-damaged cars are allowed to be resold with salvage titles, which should be a huge red flag for buyers. But sometimes dishonest salvage sellers can get around that.
Scammers will go into a neighborhood or an area that's been flooded, and they will make a cash offer for a car to the owner, buy it for a few $100 or $1,000, clean it up, and sell it for 5 or 6 times that amount.
If the vehicle does have a salvage title, it will pop up on Carfax.
If you go to carfax.com/flood, plug in your vehicle identification number, we can tell you for any used car you're considering whether it's ever had a flooded or water damaged title on the car.
Olson says there are several places to look and smell to discover water damage.
When you're in the car, take a deep sniff. If you smell mildew, or if the carpet and the upholstery seems mismatched, that's a warning sign. Look underneath the dash of the car for brittle wires. Water and electricity don't go well together, and so wires that have been submerged will turn brittle over time. Look for signs of mud in unusual places. Look in the glove box. Open up the engine, the hood. Look in the engine bay. If you see mud on top of things, that's a very bad sign.
You can also look for signs of watermarks inside the head and tail lights. And if the oil in the car looks milky white or gray, that could be a sign that water got into the engine.
These guys are very good at cleaning up these cars, making them look showroom fresh. But the reality is that these vehicles are literally rotting from the inside out.
If you want to run the VIN number on a car you're thinking of purchasing, we've put a link to the Carfax page at CBS8.com. In Otay Mesa, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
Some good information there. Meantime, people in Pacific Beach say underage kids are riding recklessly on e-bikes, and they fear someone is going to get hurt or even killed. CBS 8's Brian White spoke with neighbors in PB. He's working for you to find out what the rules are.
If you're a parent, you should be watching what your kid's doing on their e-bike, because why we haven't had a major accident yet with them, I'm surprised. They are just out of control.
Some people in PB are noticing a problem that's all too common. Young kids riding too fast, sometimes 2 or 3 to a bike, and no helmet.
I almost got ran over right here with my dog, and I had to jump back. They came around the corner, and then he just gunned it, pulled a little wheelie, and went whoop right down the sidewalk.
Bill Zent reached out to us. He's lived in PB for more than 35 years. He's taken a few photos.
3 girls, no helmet on the first bike. 2 girls, 1 helmet on the second bike, roaring down the traffic lane on Garnett.
Bill thinks they were under 16, so we're not showing their faces. This photo here was also taken on Garnett.
It was down by Sprouts. Multiple bikes, multiple girls. They did have helmets this time, but they just ran the stoplight. Went right through the red light.
I talked to Officer Nick Tamagni with SDPD's traffic division over the phone. He said the California Vehicle Code classifies any e-bike that goes over 20 miles an hour as a Class 3, and that to ride one you must be at least 16 years old and wear a helmet, not have any passengers on it with you.
You know, the accidents happen. It can happen real quick.
Tim Fay sells e-bikes at Bicycle Discovery off Felspar Street. He's taken some serious falls himself.
This is my personal helmet, and I've definitely taken a couple falls on this thing, and it saved my life, you know? These things save lives.
At a shop, they educate customers on the rules of the road when selling or renting e-bikes. He had this advice.
Make sure people can see you, wear a helmet, and be smart at intersections, you know? Don't do something stupid like riding through a red light.
Officer Tamagni told me they want to educate people on e-bike safety, but if they spot you breaking the rules, they can give you a ticket.
We got to get a lid on this thing before we have some deaths. And nobody wants to see a little kid ran over. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see that.
In Pacific Beach, working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
Coming up next, more than $800,000 in unclaimed funds. We'll show you how to check to see if the county owes you money before it's too late. Time now for working for your wallet. Auto insurance rates in the U.S. are rising. But there are ways drivers can save on those costly car bills. The average price for full coverage in the U.S. is more than $2,300 a year. According to the latest government report, motor vehicle insurance rates are up 16.5% over last year. Consumer Reports' Brian Vines shared some tips for lowering your car insurance payments.
Number one, we should all be looking at those policies once a year as they renew. Don't sleep on your car insurance policies. If you do a defensive driving class, your insurer will give you a break on your premium. You can save as much as $233 a year, and it makes a difference. All of these things add up.
Vine says drivers 70 and older who often see their insurance rates creep up should also take advantage of defensive driving courses. Right now, San Diego County has about $850,000 in unclaimed cash, and some of that may belong to you. CBS 8's Steve Price shows us how easy it is to find out if any of that money is yours.
The county's treasurer and tax collector has over $850,000 of unclaimed cash that belongs to San Diegans, and he's trying to return it. So, working for you, we're going to show you how to go online to see if you're owed money, and we'll show you how to claim it.
If you know Hog Granger, please let him know he's owed $25,118.40 related to building permit refunds. And he's not alone. The county has more than 2,500 individual cases of unclaimed money.
We want to give the money back to the people that own it.
Dan McAllister is the county's treasurer and tax collector, and he says you have until Friday, October 4th to claim your cash. Some people are owed a lot of money. We told you about HA, but Greentree & Associates is due more than $17,000. Peaceful Valley Ranch LLC, more than $6,000. And Monty McCullough, more than $5,500. Those are the top four, but even the average amount would be a nice surprise.
Right now, the average refund is $221.
Working for you, we're going to show you how to see if you're owed money. First, head to a computer and go to the website sdttc.com. Then click on the We May Have Your Money tab. Scroll down to Countywide Unclaimed Monies and click on the Search List button. There, you'll find a search box where you can type in your name. I checked for myself, but came up empty. I also looked for Marcella, but no luck.
You can do it online. That's very easy.
If you are owed money, there's a link right there to download the claim form, which is pretty straightforward to fill out. But note, your signature must be notarized if the claim is over $500. So what happens if the money isn't claimed by October 4th? It goes to the county's general fund, which McAllister doesn't want to see happen. And it's why he reached out to CBS 8 to help get this information out.
You guys play a big role by being out there to try to let people know this money needs to be put out.
Once again, you have until October 4th to claim your money, and we'll have a link to the county's unclaimed money search on our website, cbs8.com. Just click on this story. Working for you, Steve Price, CBS 8.
And that's going to do it for us. Remember, if there's something you'd like us to look into, email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.